What's up, Soul Family? Coming at you with another collective reading. So this one, the theme is going to be, we have radical expansion. So I feel like this is pretty accurate to, I guess, some things I might be experiencing as well. So that being said, if you're interested in a one-on-one reading, you can do so by directly messaging me. Up until the 29th, I'm doing readings for $20, and you can ask whatever questions you want within the 20-minute time frame. And if you have no questions, then I can simply pull cards and see what comes out. If for whatever reason it doesn't resonate, then I'll simply refund you. So you guys got 5 more days. That being said, let's jump right in. So radical expansion is all about embracing who you are and what makes you authentic, and using your unique gifts essentially to create experiences for other people and yourself. We've been conditioned to believe certain things are right or wrong from our friends, teachers, family members, parents, everybody around us. And sometimes we then start to, as a result of those judgments that we've been taught, come to our own level of kind of shaming ourselves out of being authentic or out of living the way that we want to as a result of that. So this is a call to do what we can to step into our authenticity, step into like what really makes us unique, and at the same time assess the areas where we might be judging other individuals for simply being them, and see where we might be judging unfairly, because a lot of times when we are judging somebody else unfairly, it's a reflection of certain things we might have to work on. And if somebody's just being, unkind or just whatever, then, it's not always going to say that, every judgment we make about another person is, a reflection of us. But many times when we are judging somebody, especially when they've caused no harm to another person and they're simply being them, then it's usually called to consider why that might be. That being said, let's pull some cards and see what comes out. So then we have the 7 of Pentacles. So we are all works in progress, and one of the things that kind of helped me recently is hearing somebody say, like, consider all the times that people looked down on you, doubted you, counted you down and out, and maybe even like, made you feel small, or, basically just even disrespected you, or were unkind, or pretty much kind of just dismissed any potential that you might have had in a situation. So I think it's important that we don't give up on those versions of or give up too soon, because we're almost like, it's like we owe it to those versions of ourselves that endured those experiences to create a better life for us. I feel it's like there's so many times where people have been unkind to us and have created, maybe not the best experience in our life. So I think it's really important that we focus on building the life that we desire, so we can honor those parts of us that we're not treated the best. I'll shuffle a couple more. And then we have the 2 of Cups. So maybe this is a call to, it could be like either maybe a friendship or a connection, but maybe it's or like a romantic connection. I'm sorry, like a friendship or a romantic connection. But maybe it's the call to lean in on whoever does see eye to eye with you, people who have a similar perspective or a similar vision, and really try to use that for support. There's that, and I truly believe that the more you lean in on being authentic and allowing yourself to be in the space of what makes you yourself, like to the best of your capacity, that eventually start to attract other people in that reflect that back to you as well. So it's not always easy to be alone, but I think many times when you start to embrace who you are, you allow yourself to connect to people who are aligned, and it allows experiences to kind of smooth over a lot easier. Especially when you have somebody who's willing to support you, or reciprocate the energy that you put in, or reciprocate the intentions that you have within a connection. It's like having support is a very vital thing in our experience. And then one of the cards that just fell out was actually 2, I guess, fell out. So we have the Justice card and the 9 of Wands. So understandably, you've been exhausted. It's not like this is just like it's not like it's been an easy journey. So I think it's important to continue to do what we can to balance out whatever actions we are taking. And I'm not saying to repress yourself or keep yourself small in any way, shape, and form, but we also want to make sure that we're considering not to act out of balance or do things that are going to keep us out of balance. Like, you don't want to just, like, embrace your authentic self, move to Hawaii with no money, and now you're homeless on the streets and you have absolutely no resources. Like, we want to make sure that we're not just, throwing caution to the wind, but we are still taking balanced actions towards, like, whatever goals that we have. And I think you can still do that while still embracing your authenticity. I think we have to be fair to ourselves. There are times, like, where we don't allow ourselves to take up space or to be, who we are, because we're afraid of, like, maybe, and I'm not saying you just got to be rude to people, but we're afraid of simply existing in the space and maybe stepping on somebody's toes. And I think we all deserve the right to feel comfortable and take up space as is needed. Like, we shouldn't feel shamed or feel like we have to make ourselves small versus simply existing with, of course, respect and kindness in a space and knowing that we have a right to exist in it. I'll pull one more and then the bottom of the deck. This feels like a shorter reading, to be honest. There was one card in here that was not from this deck. Maybe I dropped it, I don't know. And then we have the Fool. So the Fool is a card that points towards somebody who's very uncaring. It's like they just march to the beat of their own drum. Like, he's about to literally walk off of a cliff and not really paying attention to, like, what's happening. So, again, I'm not saying you gotta be completely obnoxious to individuals or annoying, but you have free will and do what you can to utilize it. There's just been this guy on TikTok, I think his tag is like Sapo Guapo or something like that, and he rigged like a chair, and he's been like just going around riding, rig the chair so it can it can move, like it's like on a wheel or something like that, and he's just been filming himself live going around like the town just riding the chair, and it's like people are sending him gifts, and it sounds like something so minor, but at the same time it's like he's just chilling, being himself and embracing who he is, and that makes people want to give him money. That makes people want to, reflect back that authenticity in some way, shape, and form. Like, when you are like in a very aligned state, when you're authentic, it's like energy is just flowing. Like, you're not repressing anything about how you're feeling. You're not like, making yourself small. You're not doing all these things that stifle the flow of energy. And I think it's important that we allow ourselves to just kind of be carefree and chill sometimes. And the more we embrace that energy, the more we know and train our minds to know that the more we relax and the more we are carefree, the better things can be for us. Then I think it allows our experiences to become better than what they currently are. And then on the bottom of the deck, so maybe there's like a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of like not really knowing how to take the next step or where to take the next step. And I think that's again like where the Full energy kind of comes in, and that's even like where being authentic kind of allows you to, because sometimes it doesn't seem like it, but when we're in better energetic states, it's like we're able to kind of see signs easier. We're able to kind of like, when our higher mind is giving us steps to take, it kind of, it's easier to notice those things. So it might be difficult to navigate whatever situation you're in now, but I think the more that you kind of like release, trying to figure everything out and just go with the flow and enjoy what you're doing, then the more that the blindfolds kind of get pulled off from what you're trying to experience. And then thus the more clarity you will, or the more clarity you'll experience from there. Hope this made sense. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I feel like the channel is easy to kind of like flow, and sometimes I feel like messages are more obscure. But either way, peace and blessings, and I hope you guys have a great day.